Hi, I'm Haley. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm so excited because it is finally spring. We've had a few days in a row of 70-degree weather and it's just been really nice out. I've been waiting and watching for spring flowers for a few weeks now. I even called around to all the different garden centers and they kept telling me, nope, not yet. And as I was returning my carpet shampooer to Lowe's the other day, I saw them wheeling out all of the spring flowers. So it's time. I can go ahead and start planting them because it looks like our temperatures are going to stay a little warmer. We do have a few days that might dip, but for the most part, I think we'll be okay. Anytime you do spring flowers or containers, you just kind of have to proceed with caution and know that the temperatures can dip. So today I'm so excited because I'm finally decorating my front porch for spring. Getting rid of all of these dried out evergreens and giving it a really nice fresh look. You can probably see behind me my winter display has gotten pretty pretty tired. So this is what I did after Christmas. So if you remember, we decorated the porch for fall with all of the ornamental kale, pumpkins, some mums, and that looked really pretty. And then after that, once we hit December, I went ahead and did a Christmas display. I made kind of a garland out of some branches from my spruce trees out back. And then I added some branches that I painted this kind of cranberry color. I added in these birch branches and then cut some greens from our trees out back also. What else? I think I had a bunch of other things for the Christmas display. I can't quite remember. But once Christmas is over, I kind of have to just be done with it. So I got rid of all of the bows, all of the lights, and just pared it down to what you see here. This is actually a wreath that me and my husband made together. He made one, I made one. And again, this is all cut from trees in our backyard. You can tell it's ready to go. It's dropping a bunch of needles and they're getting into my house and it's making a mess. So I've been really eager to get out here and freshen this up. But I do think this looked really nice. So let's take a look at some of the flowers I got for the front porch containers. Since these are only going to be on the porch for about a month and a half, I tried to get perennials that I could then transplant out into my garden beds. So we have these pretty white flowers, snow surfer, candy tuft. Those are a nice kind of ground cover. I think they can go out on our rock wall. Same with these little guys. Let's see. We've got some leopard's bane and then a columbine, which this will need a little more shade during the summer. Right now, I feel like I can get away with planting some of these on the porch, which is part sun, part shade. But in the summer, these plants, I couldn't because they can't handle that intense heat. I got a few little primrose plants, which I think once the summer heat kind of picks up, I'll move those to a more shady location. They just have such pretty color. I couldn't resist those. And then finally, I have some butter crunch lettuce. I thought this was a really fun texture. I like the foliage, and I figure I could just put these out in my raised garden beds once I was finished. So might as well grow some lettuce as we decorate for spring. All right, the other thing I have is this little fountain kit. And I'm planning on turning one of my containers, this guy right here. There's our kale. It finally succumbed to the winter cold. But my husband got me this container a few years ago, and he got it for me as a fountain. So he had one of these little inserts. We got some putty, kind of plugged up the hole, hid the cord, and had a cute little fountain that eventually stopped working, and I turned it into a planter. So I think it would be really neat to incorporate some water. We've talked about how we really want to hear more water kind of at our front entrance and on our back deck. We live right near a lake and we have a really beautiful view, but our view comes with some noise. You can see over there we have a freeway right near our house, which I totally don't mind at all. But I figure we might as well try to drown out some of that noise. And I really like the sound of water. It just kind of has a nice calming effect. So I'm going to try to do that today also. I almost forgot. I have my first iced coffee of the season. It's not super hot out yet. It's a really nice day actually. High 60s. My daughter's over there playing, doing her chalk. But I figured, I don't feel like having a hot coffee. Might as well make an iced coffee. So I'm going to enjoy that as I get to decorating. Like most of my porch projects, I don't have a super thought out plan. I kind of just have to get in there, see what I like, see what I don't like, kind of see what works, and just go from there. And honestly, that's most of the fun of it for me, is just kind of seeing how it started and where I end up. So before I can start decorating, I actually have to do a little bit of container maintenance, kind of infrastructure work. And what I mean by that is I need to clean everything out, and then I need to completely replace the potting soil in each of these containers. When we first moved into this house, I had no containers, and now I think I have 12. So that was a lot of potting soil to go buy from the store. And so I tried to stretch it as far as I could. And you'll hear this a lot. A lot of people do this where you try to kind of take up some space in your container, fill it with rocks, fill it with mulch, all sorts of things. I've even heard of people filling it with like empty milk containers just to kind of eat up some of the space so that you're not using quite so much potting mix. That's worked okay, but I recently heard something that kind of changed my mind, and I actually had some drainage issues last year. So what happens is as you water your containers, the water drains down to the bottom and there's more moisture down in the bottom. Well, if you fill the bottom full of junk, rocks, mulch, containers, whatever, you kind of cut off that wicking system. The soil is no longer able to draw up from the base of the container and kind of moisten the roots of the plants. So I figure I need to just get in there, start fresh, and it's a good idea to freshen up your soil every now and then anyway. Normally I go in and at least freshen up the top couple inches, but this year I'm doing a complete overhaul. So I have a drain hole in each of my containers, and what I'm going to be doing during this step also is going through and, like last year I had drip line that I just put up over the edge of my pot. This year I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to take my drip line, I've tucked it away behind me for the winter, but I'm going to run it right down, put my bricks up so it's sitting up off the ground, and I'm going to put my drip line right up that drain hole so it comes up at the center of the container. That way it's no longer going to be visible on the sides, and it'll be nice and hidden, and my pots will be ready with their drip system all installed. Okay, so I have a little bit of a take back. I emptied the containers and these are definitely old. So these aren't from our last house, they're actually from 2 houses ago. And I know that because the rocks that I had used at the bottom of the container were these basalt landscaping, those dark rocks. Those are from 2 houses ago. I remember that yard. I also noticed that I need to make a bigger drain hole, big enough so I can run the drip line up. And, this worked out really well. I just took the old soil and used it to top off one of my raised beds. I'll still go in and kind of amend it, make sure it's nice and mixed in. But this was a great way to use the soil up. So now I'm going to go ahead and just drill a hole right down the center of the bottom of this container and do on the other side. I used those bricks so that this wasn't sitting flush on the ground, so that those holes would have some space to drain, and so we would have room for the drip tube to run up the bottom of the pot. And you can see I just ran it right from over here. That's where we have access. I'm going to clean this up a bit. Right now it's looking a little scraggly, but during the season I tend to use some things to kind of hide this. Sometimes it's not the prettiest, but the convenience is worth it to me. So you can see I added a little T here and I ran one line of 1/4 inch drip tube. This has no holes, it's just the solid tubing right up the bottom of the container, right into the hole. I did drill a few more drainage holes just because this fits so snugly. So I wanted to make sure there was more space to drain. And then up top, I just reassembled the existing, this is soaker hose. I don't know if that's what I'm going to use this summer, but for now, I just put it on. Okay, my work area has gotten real messy. All right, so before I go in and remove everything to blow this area off, I figure I'd show you. So the other side of that same T I just showed you is going to run right here. I'm going to tuck it right under my rug. Between the doormat and the little threshold thing. And it comes right over here to the other container and then runs right up, just like the other one, the center of the pot. I didn't have anything just yet, so I just topped it off with a little T. So I'm not sure what I'm going to use for emitters. I'll figure that out later. I actually find drip irrigation really fun and it's so convenient. So that's what I have for now, and I think it's going to work really well. another thing I thought might be kind of neat is using some stacked wood. Mixing in wood, maybe with some moss over it and then some flowers peeking out here and there. So I'm just gonna start pulling some natural things and start kind of experimenting and seeing where we go from there. All right, so I've got my container placed. It has little legs for this container to sit up on so that the cord can run out the bottom. This one kind of comes out the side. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the cord, I've pushed a hole, I used the drill and then kind of widened this hole. And this cord comes with a rubber stopper. I'm hoping this works. We will see. But I'm just pulling the cord through and it spiraled. And then we'll see. Basically, our experiment is, will this rubber stopper hold? All right, so here's the stopper. So we got the fountain in. It's getting a little windy, so I do want to be careful I'm not blowing water all over. When the wind blows, it's starting to come together. So what I'm really thinking with this porch, when I think of spring, I kind of think of bright, fresh colors, lots of textures, lots of elements. So that's what I'm trying to do. And right now I'm just trying to kind of get some different layers going. Here, I've got the branches in the green pot. I need to hide the white pipe a little bit. But I'm just trying to get some different elevation, different textures with the wood. Of course, we'll have our plants, foliage. I love the bark look of this wood. I even thought it'd be cool if somehow you could put soil and plant something in there. So I'm thinking I might stick these branches kind of back behind there. I need to bring something else out here and create another little level. I don't want to do anything too crazy, but I don't know, I'm having fun with it. So with this spring porch, I really like kind of the vibe. I'm not like a huge fairy garden type person, but I like the vibe of it. And I think the thing I like is just making different little scenes, different structures with natural elements. So using twigs, stones, bark, all sorts of different kinds of textures. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So I'm just going to keep playing and see what I come up with. But we've got our nice soil, look at our flowers, we've got our element of water. How fun is it to have water out here? It just does something. I need to find a way to bring in some fire. So modern day equivalent probably will be some fairy lights. So we'll see. We'll see where it takes us. It is a new day. I ended up running out of time yesterday, and I actually found myself kind of on the hamster wheel with this wire thing. I was trying to make like a mossy kind of cornucopia thing and fill it with flowers, and it just absolutely wasn't working. So new day, fresh start. I'm going to pare it back a little bit. It's a little windier out, but it's still a nice day. So the one other thing, our fountain is leaking a little bit, so I am going to have to drain it. Not today, not right this minute, but probably tomorrow. I'll drain it, let it dry out, and I think I'm going to try another attempt with some fresh putty, that epoxy stuff that you use to clog the holes. give it another go. If it still drains, I'll probably move it right back out to where it was in our garden bed. And if it leaks there a little bit, that's okay. But I just don't want water kind of pooling on my front entryway. All right, I'm almost done. I'm going to put some fairy lights on the pots real quick, but I am trying to figure out what to put on my door. So I thought about making a boxwood wreath, but I want a little bit of color, and so I'm thinking I might actually just run into town real quick and buy something. So, and just kind of see what they have. So we'll see. I'll be back in a few. Well, that is my spring front porch. I'm really happy with it. It's just really nice to have something bright and pretty to kind of welcome you home at the end of the day. And the sooner I can get flowers out after a long gray winter, the better. These aren't my summer annuals. These are spring flowers. They're a little hardier, but I still have to kind of proceed with caution. A hard freeze can take flowers like this, so I might have to watch the forecast, cover them up a little bit. But, you know, I'm willing to take the risk because I love flowers, I love color, and the sooner I can get spring here, the better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.